I'm driving down this moderately unkept up, desolate road, heading towards the fictional town of Gatlin, Nebraska, in search of he who walks behind the rows. No, not the flower, rows of crops. In this case, what you see behind me. I'm visiting the filming locations of the 1984 cult classic, Children of the... I'm wearing the appropriate hat for this as well. It's my second channel, daily vlog channel. It's TheDailyWoo. And I got a nice little build-up of nastiness from standing in that field on the old shoe. But unlike the state location mentioned in the film, we are still technically in Iowa. You scared, Big the Foot? We're going in. Don't be scared. I'm sure it'll be just fine. This is quite an interesting vibe pulling into town. It's like I'm stepping back in time. And there's hardly anyone here. This bridge has been closed off and completely barricaded. Probably a wise choice, because the less people who visit here, the better. The plot of the movie, the kids eliminate the adults. I have a childlike attitude, so I should be safe, right? Yeah, I should be fine. You can see the two main characters' vehicle driving in this shot. And check out the building behind it. Notice the lettering that states garage. Well, that's the building right there. Partly decomposed and falling down, but you can prominently read the wording. Still up there, even though the rest of it's gone. This was the spot of Hansen's Cafe, where 3 years prior a very horrific event took place. You'll notice the building on the far left was torn down and replaced with a newer, smaller structure. And I found something very interesting behind the new glass facade. The malt sign is still up there, as is the blue paint on the trim. That's incredible, right here behind that piece of plexiglass. Now the interiors were not filmed in here. That was in a totally different town, a few miles up the road. We'll get to that a little later. When they tried to steal his car, it was parked right here. And you'll notice the building behind the vehicle is now completely, well, halfway covered in ivy. You can still see part of the wall though. In fact, you can see some of the dying dead limbs. Now that Isaac's gone and the rituals have ended, everything's drying up. It's amazing how basically everything looks the same. Other than a few name changes on the signs, has the same vibe. The same creepy vibe. And I love the fact that the advertisement painted on the brick is still there, and this metal American Legion sign, which can be seen very well as he's running towards it down the sidewalk. But don't you know it's very difficult to outrun a kid? I mean, they're half your age. They can sprint faster. Standing on this very corner with his blood-drenched shirt, looking around trying to decide which way to go next. And I'm a pretty big nerd. I like to match up certain things like cracks in the brick. You'll notice how this indentation goes up and then it kind of formulates into another chunk of the same color. That's the only brick that does that, which means his shoulder was right here, which also means I am considerably taller. Okay, I take that back. I stand corrected because I'm currently standing, but I'm about the same height. There's the weird little indentation. So we're kind of sort of about the same height. His shoulder and my shoulder came to right about there. This is pretty interesting. This tin building still remains. If you look on the far right, the cinder block structure is still there as well. And what's fascinating is they used to have an extension coming off of the side of this wall. Look closely, you can see the glue that used to hold that exterior portion that used to sit right there. Little Columbo-like research skills. That's what I just used. Broken window there on the side of this old, fantastic, classic car. Needs a little work. From a camera angle up on top of that roof, we are now looking down where Malachi and the rest of the children are walking. That famous scene, Outlander! And the interesting thing is, you can see these cracks in the pavement as you're looking down from that bird's eye view. See this crack? That was there in the scene. And who can forget this? We have your woman, Outlander! She still lives! I've always wanted to do that. Her blood will spill unless you give yourself up. We won't wait much longer. The night is coming. The night is his time. Outlander! Outlander! Maybe you don't hear so well. Outlander! I can't be the only person that showed up out here and done that. But you kind of have to, right? It's always an interesting feeling visiting a location that you've seen either on TV or the big screen so many times. Now I'm just cruising through town on to the next destination, which is about 10 miles or so down the road. Thankfully, it looks like the commute from point A to point B is all soybean. That's a good thing, because I don't know if I can handle looking at stalks of corn. Wait, no! Okay, it's not that bad. Just calm down, Adam. It's all right. As I'm just pulling in the outskirts of town, notice the sign. There are 2 4-leaf clovers on either side of it. In the movie, the sign for Gatlin has 2 pieces of corn pretty much on the same sides. Coincidence? You decide. The interiors of the cafe I mentioned earlier were filmed inside a real diner that burned down at this location about 10 years ago. In fact, you can still see some of the concrete from the foundation. A pretty intense opening scene. This is where the insanity began. And if you need further confirmation, look at the buildings behind Isaac and his hat there. They are the same buildings that you see across the road. He was standing there, approving of what was going down. You evil little bugger. And it appears as if the house is not currently occupied. Wow. Different paint color, but it looks exactly the same. That now iconic, famous screenshot of them standing in the yard with their weapons and sickles. Oh my goodness, it happened right here! That's where they built the fake cellar door. This side of those 2 windows, the long and short window, side by side. And they would have pretended to walk out of the basement right there. However, when he's walking towards the cornfield from the back of the home, there really is corn back here. Oh my, look how tall this is. You have to wonder if anyone lives here or not. The very same doorway he entered. Just how windy it is adds to the ambiance, and the crickets and other bugs and noises that are all around me. Just listen closely for a second. Okay, moving on. Have to drive up a ways to get to the next couple spots. At first I thought this train wasn't moving, but in fact, it's careening along at a nice little pace, even though I'm going faster than it is. Not that it's a race or anything. I don't think it's a race. Wait, is it a race? Many years ago, there used to be a service station right here. This is where they met up with the mechanic who said, "You don't need to go to Gatlin." And his dog, Sarge, ran off in the cornfield right after they drove that direction. Really nothing left of the location whatsoever except the driveway pull-off. And then over here, there's a nice little chunk of concrete. Where it once stood. Not sure why I did that tap dance back there, but I did. It's now a roadway in, but this is the location that they celebrated the birthday. The doors are much less colorful than they were back then. Linda Hamilton did that dance right inside, don't quote me on this, but I think inside room 122, right in there. Someone's staying inside there, I don't want to bother them, but I'm pretty sure that's the room. What the heck is going on out there? Malachi! Get away from here! Get back! I'm not who you're looking for! I'm warning you! Whew. Vlog over.